Alright, this is a test for my memory. I'm going to be counting all the powers of 2 from 2 to the power 0, which is 1, all the way up to 65,536. And I'm going to be covering myself with this scarf so that you know I'm not looking at anything, okay? This is all from memory. Alright, so, starting with 2 to the power 0, okay? 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048, 4096, 8192, 16,384, 32,768, 65,536. Okay, that's all from memory. I'm going to be listing all the NBA MVPs, the champions that year, their finals opponents, the finals MVP, if there was one, or who should have been one, and the scoring champion that year. From 1956, because that's the first year they had the NBA MVP, all the way to 2019, last year, because this year the season suspended. Starting from 1956 to 2019, I'm going to be naming, the MVP, the who won that year, the finals opponent, finals MVP, and the scoring leader. And I'm going to be doing this all from memory. So I'm just going to, off the top of my head from memory. You can check later to see if it's right or not. But I'm going to be doing this, off from the top of my head. And I have this scarf as a blindfold. So just so you know, I'm not looking at anything. This is all coming from my mind. So all from memory. So let's start from 1956. Okay, so 1956, the NBA MVP was Bob Pettit. The NBA champion was the Philadelphia Warriors. Their finals opponent was the Fort Wayne Pistons. This was before the Detroit Pistons. They were called the Fort Wayne Pistons. The finals MVP, there wasn't one back then, but I think it would have been Paul Arizin. And then the scoring leader that year was Bob Pettit. So, 1956. 1957, the NBA MVP was Bob Cousy. The NBA champion was the Boston Celtics. They faced the St. Louis Hawks in the finals. So again, for all of Bill Russell's years, there was no finals MVP, but they won a lot of rings. So I'm just for the sake of time, I'm just gonna say it's Bill Russell, who I think would have been finals MVP that year. So finals MVP Bill Russell, and scoring leader that year was Paul Arizin, I think. 1958, NBA MVP was Bill Russell. The champions that year was the St. Louis Hawks, and they faced the Boston Celtics in a rematch. The finals MVP would have been Bob Pettit, and scoring leader that year, 58. I think it was this guy called George Yardley. Yeah, he wasn't very well known, but I think it's George Yardley. 1959, NBA MVP was Bob Pettit again. NBA champion was the Boston Celtics. They faced the LA Lakers in the finals. And finals MVP would have been Bill Russell, let's say that. Scoring leader that year was Bob Pettit. 1960, NBA MVP was Wilt Chamberlain. The champions that year was the Boston Celtics. They faced the St. Louis Hawks in the finals. The finals MVP would have been Bill Russell. Scoring champion was Wilt Chamberlain. 1961, NBA MVP was Bill Russell. The champion that year was the Boston Celtics. They faced the St. Louis Hawks again. Finals MVP would have been Bill Russell again. And then the scoring champion in 1961 would have been Wilt Chamberlain again. 1962, NBA MVP was Bill Russell. NBA champion was Boston Celtics. They faced the LA Lakers in the finals. The finals MVP would have been Bill Russell, and scoring champion was Wilt Chamberlain. That was the year he averaged like 50 points, I think. 1963, NBA MVP was Bill Russell. The NBA champion that year was Boston Celtics. They faced the LA Lakers again in a rematch, I think. Finals MVP would have been Bill Russell, and the scoring champion was Wilt Chamberlain. 1964, the NBA MVP was Oscar Robertson. The NBA champion that year was Boston Celtics. They faced the San Francisco Warriors in the finals. And the Finals MVP would have been Bill Russell again, I guess. Scoring champion was Wilt Chamberlain. So that was 1964. Yeah. 1965 NBA MVP was Bill Russell. NBA champions Boston Celtics again. They faced the LA Lakers in a rematch. Finals MVP would have been Bill Russell. Scoring champion that year was Wilt Chamberlain. 1966 NBA MVP was Wilt Chamberlain. The NBA champion that year was the Boston Celtics again. They faced the LA Lakers in a rematch. Finals MVP would have been Bill Russell. Scoring champion was Wilt Chamberlain. Again, I think, yeah. 1967, the NBA MVP was Wilt Chamberlain again. The NBA champions that year were the Philadelphia 76ers. They faced the Golden State Warriors in the finals, or the San Francisco Warriors at that time. Finals MVP would have been Wilt Chamberlain. Scoring leader that year was Rick Barry. 1968, NBA MVP that year was Wilt Chamberlain. NBA champions that year was the Boston Celtics. They faced the LA Lakers in the finals. Finals MVP would have been Bill Russell again, I guess. Scoring champion was Dave Bing. Yeah, I think it was Dave Bing. 1969, NBA MVP was Wes Unseld. NBA champions that year was the Boston Celtics again. He faced the LA Lakers in a rematch. Finals MVP, this was the first year they had Finals MVP, and it went to Jerry West. And it was the only time that the Finals MVP went to a guy on the losing team. And scoring champion that year was Elvin Hayes, I think. Yeah. 1970 NBA MVP was Willis Reed. The NBA champion was the New York Knicks. Their finals opponent was the LA Lakers. Finals MVP was Willis Reed. And the NBA scoring champion was Jerry West. Yeah. 1971 NBA MVP was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The NBA champion was the Milwaukee Bucks. They faced the Washington Bullets in the finals. Finals MVP was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Scoring champion was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. 1972, the NBA MVP was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The NBA champion was the LA Lakers. They faced the New York Knicks in the finals. Finals MVP was Wilt Chamberlain, and scoring champion was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Yeah. 1973, NBA MVP was Dave Cowens. NBA champion was New York Knicks. They faced the LA Lakers in a rematch. Finals MVP was Willis Reed. And scoring champion that year, I think, was Tiny Archibald. Yeah. 1974, NBA MVP was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar again. Third one. NBA champion that year was the Boston Celtics. They faced the Milwaukee Bucks in the finals. The finals MVP was John Havlicek. Scoring leader that year was Bob McAdoo. Okay, 1975, NBA MVP was Bob McAdoo. NBA champion was the Golden State Warriors. They faced the Washington Bullets in the finals. The finals MVP was Rick Barry. The scoring champion that year was Bob McAdoo. 1976, the NBA MVP was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. This is fourth one. NBA champion was the Boston Celtics. They faced the Phoenix Suns in the finals. The finals MVP was JoJo White. And scoring leader that year was Bob McAdoo. 1977, the NBA MVP was, I think it's Kareem again. Yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. This would have been his fifth one. NBA champion was the Portland Trailblazers. They beat the Philadelphia 76ers in the finals. Finals MVP was Bill Walton. And the scoring leader that year was Pete Maravich. 1978, the NBA MVP was it Bill Walton? Yeah. NBA champion that year was the Washington Bullets. They beat the Seattle Supersonics in the finals. Finals MVP was Wes Unseld, and the NBA champion scoring leader that year was George Gervin, I think. Yeah. 1979 NBA MVP was Moses Malone. NBA champion that year was the Seattle Supersonics. They beat the Washington Bullets in a rematch. Finals MVP was Dennis Johnson. Scoring leader that year was George Gervin again, I think. 1980, the NBA champion was the NBA MVP first. NBA MVP 1980, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. This was Kareem's sixth MVP, I think. That's his last one. And then the NBA champion was the LA Lakers. Their finals opponent was the Philly 76ers. Finals MVP was Magic Johnson in his rookie year. And scoring leader that year was, I think it was George Gervin again. 1981, the NBA MVP was Julius Erving, I think. The NBA champion that year was the Boston Celtics. They beat the Houston Rockets. Finals MVP was Cedric Maxwell. And scoring leader that year was Adrian Dantley, I think. 1982, NBA MVP was Moses Malone. The NBA champion that year was the LA Lakers. They beat the 76ers in the finals. And finals MVP was Magic Johnson again. Scoring leader that year, I think, was George Gervin. 1983, NBA champion was the Philadelphia... No, sorry, MVP first. 1983 MVP was Moses Malone. And then the NBA champion was the Philadelphia 76ers. They beat the LA Lakers in a rematch. Then the finals MVP was Moses Malone. The scoring champion was Alex English, I think. Yeah. 1984, the NBA MVP was Larry Bird. The NBA champion was the Boston Celtics. They beat the LA Lakers in the finals. The finals MVP was Larry Bird. Scoring champion was Adrian Dantley, I think. 1985, the NBA MVP was Larry Bird. The NBA champions was the LA Lakers. They beat the Boston Celtics in a rematch. Finals MVP was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And scoring champion was Bernard King. 1986, NBA MVP was... 1986 NBA MVP was... Let's see, who was it? Larry Bird again, yeah. Larry Bird. NBA champion was the Boston Celtics. They beat the Houston Rockets in the finals. Finals MVP was Larry Bird. And scoring champion that year was Dominique Wilkins. 1987, the NBA champion was the LA... keep forgetting, MVP first. And the 1987 MVP was Magic Johnson. The NBA champion was the LA Lakers. And the opponent was the Boston Celtics again. Finals MVP was Magic Johnson. And the scoring champion that year was Michael Jordan. 1988, the NBA MVP was Michael Jordan. NBA champion that year was the LA Lakers. They beat the Detroit Pistons in the finals. Finals MVP was James Worthy. And scoring leader that year was Michael Jordan. 1989, NBA MVP was Magic Johnson, I think. NBA champion was the Detroit Pistons that year. They beat the LA Lakers in the finals in a rematch. The finals MVP was Joe Dumars. And the scoring champion that year was Michael Jordan. 1990, NBA MVP was Magic Johnson again. The NBA champions was the Detroit Pistons again. They beat the Portland Trailblazers in the finals. Finals MVP was Isaiah Thomas. And scoring champion that year was Michael Jordan. 1991, the NBA MVP was Michael Jordan. The NBA champion that year was the Chicago Bulls. They beat the LA Lakers in the finals. The finals MVP was Michael Jordan. And the scoring champion is also Michael Jordan. 92, the NBA MVP was Michael Jordan again. The NBA champions were the Chicago Bulls. They beat the Portland Trailblazers in the finals. Finals MVP is Michael Jordan. Scoring champion is Michael Jordan. 1993, NBA MVP was Charles Barkley. NBA champions was the Chicago Bulls. They beat the Phoenix Suns in the finals. The NBA Finals MVP was Michael Jordan, and scoring champion was Michael Jordan. 1994, NBA MVP was, I think it was Hakeem Olajuwon. And the NBA champion was the Houston Rockets. They beat the New York Knicks in the finals. And the finals MVP was Hakeem Olajuwon. And the scoring champion that year was David Robinson, I think. Yeah. I think it was David Robinson. Yep. 1995 NBA MVP was David Robinson. The NBA champion was Houston Rockets. They beat the Orlando Magic in the finals. Finals MVP was Hakeem Olajuwon, and scoring leader was Shaq. 1996 NBA champion was NBA MVP was Michael Jordan. NBA champion was Chicago Bulls. They beat the Seattle Supersonics in the finals. The finals MVP was Michael Jordan. Scoring leader is Michael Jordan. 1997 NBA MVP was Karl Malone, and the NBA champion was the Chicago Bulls. They beat the Utah Jazz in the finals. Finals MVP is Michael Jordan. Scoring champion is Michael Jordan. 1998 NBA MVP is Michael Jordan. NBA champion Chicago Bulls. They beat the Utah Jazz in a rematch. And finals MVP is Michael Jordan. Scoring champion is Michael Jordan. 1999 NBA MVP was 1999 NBA MVP was Karl Malone. Yeah. NBA champion was San Antonio Spurs. They beat the New York Knicks in the finals, and Tim Duncan was the finals MVP, and scoring leader was Allen Iverson, I think. 2000 NBA MVP was Shaq. NBA champion was the LA Lakers. They beat the Indiana Pacers in the finals. Finals MVP was Shaq. Scoring leader was also Shaq. 2001 NBA MVP was Allen Iverson. NBA champion was the LA Lakers. They beat the 76ers in the finals. Finals MVP was Shaq. Scoring leader was Iverson. 2002 NBA MVP was Tim Duncan. NBA champion was LA Lakers. They beat the New Jersey Nets in the finals. Finals MVP was Shaq. The scoring leader was Tracy McGrady. 2003 NBA MVP was Tim Duncan again. NBA champion was the San Antonio Spurs. They beat the New Jersey Nets in the finals. Finals MVP was Tim Duncan. Scoring leader was Tracy McGrady again. 2004, the NBA MVP was Kevin Garnett. The NBA champion was the Detroit Pistons. They beat the LA Lakers in the finals. The finals MVP was Chauncey Billups. And the scoring leader was, I think it was Iverson again. Yeah. 2005, the NBA MVP was Steve Nash. The NBA champion was 2005. NBA champion was San Antonio Spurs. They beat the Detroit Pistons in the finals. Finals MVP was Tim Duncan. Scoring leader was Iverson again, I think. And 2006 NBA MVP was 2006 NBA MVP was Steve Nash again. And the NBA champions was the Miami Heat. They beat the Dallas Mavericks in the finals. The finals MVP was Dwayne Wade. And scoring leader that year was Kobe Bryant. 2007, the NBA MVP was Dirk Nowitzki. The NBA champion was San Antonio Spurs. They beat the Cleveland Cavs in the finals. Finals MVP was Tony Parker. And the scoring leader that year was Kobe Bryant. 2008, the NBA MVP was Kobe Bryant. The NBA champion was the Boston Celtics. They beat the LA Lakers. And the finals MVP was Paul Pierce. The scoring leader that year was LeBron James, I think. Yeah. 2009, NBA MVP was LeBron James. NBA champion that year was the LA Lakers. They beat the Orlando Magic in the finals. And the NBA Finals MVP was Kobe Bryant. The scoring leader was not Kevin Durant. The 2009 scoring leader was Dwayne Wade, I think. Yeah. 2010, NBA MVP was LeBron James again. NBA champion that year was the LA Lakers again. They beat the Boston Celtics in the finals. The finals MVP was Kobe Bryant. The scoring leader was Kevin Durant. 2011, NBA MVP was Derrick Rose. NBA champion was the Dallas Mavericks. They beat the Miami Heat in the finals. Finals MVP was Dirk Nowitzki, and scoring leader was Kevin Durant. 2012 NBA MVP was LeBron James. NBA champion was the Miami Heat. They beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in the finals. Finals MVP was LeBron James, and the scoring leader that year was Kevin Durant. 2013, the NBA MVP was LeBron James again. NBA champion was the Miami Heat again. They beat the San Antonio Spurs in the finals. Finals MVP was LeBron James, and scoring leader that year was Carmelo Anthony. 2014, the NBA MVP was Kevin Durant. NBA champion that year was the San Antonio Spurs. They beat the Miami Heat in the finals. Finals MVP was Kawhi Leonard. And scoring champion that year was Kevin Durant. 2015, NBA MVP was Steph Curry. And NBA champion was the Golden State Warriors. They beat the Cleveland Cavs in the finals. Finals MVP was Andre Iguodala. And scoring leader that year was Russell Westbrook, I think. 2016 NBA MVP was Steph Curry. NBA champion was the Cleveland Cavaliers. They beat the Golden State Warriors. Really tight series. Finals MVP was LeBron James. And scoring champion that year was Steph Curry. 2017 NBA MVP was Russell Westbrook because he averaged a triple-double that year. NBA champion was the Golden State Warriors. They had a rematch against Cleveland Cavs. Finals MVP is Kevin Durant. And the scoring leader that year was Russell Westbrook, I think, again. In 2018, NBA MVP was... 2018 NBA MVP, I think it was James Harden. NBA champion was the Golden State Warriors again. They beat the Cleveland Cavs in a rematch. Finals MVP was Kevin Durant again. Scoring leader was James Harden, I think. And 2019, this is the last year I'm doing. NBA MVP was Giannis Antetokounmpo. The NBA champion is the Toronto Raptors. They faced against the Golden State Warriors in the finals. Finals MVP is Kawhi Leonard. And the scoring leader was James Harden again. And yeah. Oh my god. You can look it all up later and verify it, I guess. And yeah, that's it. That's all from my memory.